I call to order today the second meeting of the House State Government Committee. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting this afternoon. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll at this time?
Representative Bojanowski.
Present.
Representative Bowling.
Here.
Representative Bratcher.
Here.
Representative Chester Burton.
Present.
Representative Duvall.
Here.
Representative Graham. Representative Heath. Representative Heverin. Representative Herron. Representative Hodgson.
Here.
Representative Huff.
Here.
Representative Johnson.
Here.
Representative Maddox. Representative Rawlings.
Here.
Representative Tate. Here. Representative Tipton.
Here.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Representative Witt.
Here.
Representative Heath.
Here.
Representative Imes.
Here.
Representative Hale.
Here. Do we have a quorum? We do have a quorum today, and we are constituted to do business in this committee today. Before we begin, does anyone in any of our members have any guests or anyone today you'd like to recognize before we proceed? It appears that we do not have any guests. Please remember, everyone, to please silence your cell phones during the meeting, if you would, please. Please, as the presenting members come to the table, please direct all questions and follow-up questions through the chair, if you don't mind, please. Our first item on the agenda today is House Bill 40, sponsored by Representative Derek Lewis. Representative Lewis, would you please come to the table? Representative Lewis, would you please identify yourself at this time, and you may proceed, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Derek Lewis, State Representative of the 90th District, proudly representing Laurel, Clay, and Leslie County. I appreciate you all hearing my bill today. I am now chairing the Administrative Regulation and Review Subcommittee. We meet once a month throughout the year. There is a committee sub.
Motion on the committee substitute. Second.
There has been a motion made on the committee sub and a second. Yes, we will take a question. Go right ahead, Representative.
Yes, could you explain what the differences are between the original bill and the committee sub, please?
Yes, Representative. So when this bill actually was originally House Bill 337, I believe, in the 22 regular session, Chairman Hale had that bill. I had this bill ready to go at the beginning of session, but after talking with bill drafters and to get into conformity with the existing statute, that's how the bill ended up going to 200 pages, is just streamlining. But the most substantial part of this is actually in Section 6. That's the meat of everything. The rest is just conforming language.
Any other questions? We do have a motion on the committee sub, and there has been a second. All in favor of the committee sub, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Representative Lewis, please proceed with your explanation of House Bill 40 as amended at this time by the committee sub.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So House Bill 40, dealing with administrative regulations, this adds a new option to deal with regulations that have been found deficient by the ARS committee. So the current process, if we find something deficient, we are sending it to the governor, and at that point they can choose to withdraw the regulation, amend it in conformity, or allow it to become effective, notwithstanding of the finding of deficiency. When that happens, what we typically do is we will roll that into a Senate Bill 65. What we've done the past few years, we'll be doing that in a few weeks, and the legislative body as a whole will strike these regulations. So a more efficient process, the House Committee sub established a 10-day period where we can send a deficient regulation to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General then has 20 days to make a determination on whether or not that deficiency is warranted, in which case the regulation would become null, void, and unenforceable. And the agency would also be prohibited from filing or refiling identical or substantially similar regulation for 1 year. If it's unwarranted, everything's the same as it always is. It goes to the governor. That is the bill. I think it's a more efficient process. Again, we meet throughout the year. and it's not without outside of what we always do.
Motion on the bill.
There has been a motion and a second made, but before we proceed there, I do think we have someone that is going to speak. Mr. Fitzgerald, you may come to the table. Representative Lewis, would you please just step aside for just a moment and... Sir, would you please identify yourself for the record, and you may proceed for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. It is Tom Fitzgerald. I am the former director of the Kentucky Resources Council. They took me out of mothballs for one more session, Mr. Chairman. The current director is Ashley Wilms is here also, and I know that this committee, when she is in front of you, will be every bit as patient and kind as you have been with me for these past 43 years. Mr. Chairman, we've talked about this bill when it was House Bill 337, and I
Yes,
just
sir.
want to make very briefly a couple of points. I don't believe the bill is necessary because the number of deficient regulations that have been identified by the Administrative Reg Committee or by the other substantive committee since 2000, when there have been over 11,000 regulations that have been reviewed, is right at 0.3% of those regulations that have been identified as deficient. The existing framework is sufficient to cover those rare circumstances in which a regulation has been found deficient. There have been more this year, actually. I think there have been 6 this year out of 66 regulations reviewed. In many years, there have been absolutely none. And there have been, since 2000 up through 2022, there were a grand total, I think, of 25 regulations out of the 10,000 or more that have actually been found deficient and have gone into effect. So I don't believe the bill is necessary. More fundamentally, and I love to be in a situation of having to tell the legislature that they can't do things. It makes me very popular. There's concerns with the constitutionality. That we've discussed that before, and I know we have a difference of opinion on it. The LRC versus Brown decision made fairly clear, I think, that the legislature during the interim cannot put in place efforts to nullify executive branch regulations. They can when they come back into session, as is going to be done with, I think, with Senate Bill 65 this session, is to ratify those regulations found deficient, so they will cease to be when the legislature adjourns. But the separation of powers in the Kentucky Constitution is what's called a hard separation, and one branch cannot usurp functions that are reserved to another branch. Here, delegating legislative authority to the Attorney General's offices of concern, and also letting the AG's office exercise what is essentially a judicial function. And then third, the legislature during the interim cannot nullify a regulation either directly or by setting a time frame where the bill will become null and void unless something happens. So those are my concerns. I'm happy to answer any questions. I appreciate it. It's almost like this is a pre-recorded message that Fitzgerald still doesn't like this bill, but I appreciate your all's time and appreciate the sponsor.
Thank you,
very much.
Mr. Fitzgerald. And let me say this, Mr. Fitzgerald has been always very courteous with me. We've had this discussion in the past as I chaired that committee for 4 years prior to this year, and we've had this conversation before. I will allow, are there any questions any of the members would like to ask Mr. Fitzgerald? We certainly will allow that. Yes, sir. Representative Bratcher, please proceed, please.
When I came down here, Tom had been here for probably 20 years before that. And even though we don't always see eye to eye, he's always been a great gentleman to work with. And I hope this isn't your last session. I hope you can stick around a lot longer.
Representative Bratcher, I appreciate that very much. I have become kind of an institution, I guess. My shoes are going to the Fraser History Museum. They called and said that they wanted them. I said, thanks, I didn't feel old enough. Now you are making me an antiquity. But I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have had a motion and a second on the bill. There's being no further discussion or questions that I see. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Representative Bojanowski.
No.
Representative Bowling. Yes. Representative Bratcher.
Yes?
Representative Chester Burton.
No.
Representative Duvall. Representative Graham.
No.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Heverin,
Yes.
Representative Herron,
No.
Representative Hodgson,
Aye.
Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Rawlings,
Yes.
Representative Tate, Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten, Representative Hale.
Yes. The motion passes with 14 yea votes and 4 no votes. The motion passes with favorable expression and should pass the same on the House floor. Thank you, Representative Lewis. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee.
Our second item on the agenda today, we're going to go out of turn just a little bit here. Representative Banta, you are going to be up next, so would you please come forward at this time? Good afternoon, Representative Banta. Representative Banta is here to present to us House Bill 70, so please identify yourself for the record, ma'am, and then you may proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. Kim Banta, 63rd District. You're going to need to pay very, very close attention because this is extremely complicated. Okay? We want to give lottery winners. Oh, a motion on the sub, please.
Yes, ma'am.
But Mr. Chairman?
Yes, there has been a motion and a second on the committee sub, but we will take questions. Representative Graham, you may proceed first.
Can you explain what the sub does?
Absolutely.
Please?
We went
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
from 7 million to 1 million. In order to, if you win the lottery, you can go from, if you win $1 million, you can choose to be anonymous for up to 1 year. That's it. Any questions?
Representative Bojanowski, was that your question as well?
Yes, sir.
There has been a. Yes, we have to adopt the sub first. My apologies. We have a motion on the committee sub, and there has been a second, correct? All in favor of the committee sub, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion on the committee sub now is carries. So, Representative Banta, please proceed with your bill as amended by the committee sub.
$1 million, you can choose your choice to be anonymous should you win the lottery.
Now we have a motion on the bill and a second. Is there any questions or comments to Representative Banta on this specific bill? Representative,
I'm just curious.
Graham.
What do the other states allow in terms of information that comes out in regards to who has won? What's the limit that they set, or is there?
I'm sorry, Representative, I do not know. I just know that my constituency who enjoys the lottery would like to be anonymous should they ever win.
Good luck to them.
Amen.
Representative Graham, anything else? All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions on at this time? Seeing none, there has been a motion and a second on House Bill 70 as amended by the committee substitute. Would the secretary at this time please call the roll?
Representative Bojanowski,
Yes.
Representative Bowling, Representative Bratcher,
Yes.
Representative Chester Burton,
Yes.
Representative Duvall, Representative Graham,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Heverin,
Yes.
Representative Herron,
Yes.
Representative Hodgson,
Yes.
Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Imes,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Rawlings,
Yes.
Representative Tate, Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Williams,
Yes.
Representative Witten,
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes. The motion carries with 19 yea votes and 0 nay votes. The motion carries unanimously with favorable expression and should do the same on the House floor. Representative Banda, thank you this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Our third item on the agenda today is going to be House Bill 49, which will be presented to us by Tipton. Representative Tipton, please make your way to the table. Representative Tipton, would you please at this time identify yourself, and then the guests that you have with you, please identify yourself, both of you, today for the record.
Representative James Tipton, House District 53.
Good afternoon. I'm Erin Surratt. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Benefits at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority.
And I'm Carrie Bass. I'm a Staff Attorney Supervisor, Office of Legal Services, Kentucky Public Pensions Authority.
Thank you, ladies, for being with us today. Representative Tipton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And there is a committee sub, and I will go ahead and explain
You may.
the differences between the committee
You may
sub
proceed.
and the original bill as filed. Staff found some other technical changes they felt was necessary to include while we were going through this process. This is legislation we refer to as the housekeeping bill for KPPA, or Kentucky Public Pension Authority. There was also one other section in the legislation in the original version. Some questions arose between CERS, KERS, and Kentucky League of Cities. My suggestion was we withdraw that till we can get some consensus on that, so that section was removed from the committee sub as well. So
Motion on the committee substitute.
There has been a motion made on the committee substitute, and there has been a second as well. Are there any questions specifically on the committee sub? Seeing none, all in favor of the committee substitute, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion on the committee sub passes. Representative Tipton, you may again now proceed on House Bill 49 as amended by the committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You should have in your packet an actuarial analysis from KPPA on this bill. I just wanted to point that out to you. On page 2, it just states there is no estimated change in benefit payments. There's no estimated change to employer costs, and it may provide cost savings to the administrative expenses as a result of the amended disability review process, which I will explain in a minute. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Housekeeping bill, we have a lot of things that are truly housekeeping. Word changes, where it said his, we put his or her in. I will note that staff has been very diligent over the last few years. Back, I believe it was the 2018 session, Senate Bill 151 passed. That legislation was later struck down by the Kentucky Supreme Court due to the process that was applied. However, the terms, the language from that bill have been in our statute, and we do have some situations here where we are removing that language from Senate Bill 151 that was struck down. That is part of the housekeeping. There are 28 sections, and I know everybody's already read all 209 pages, so I won't go over all of it. But I would like to draw your attention to a couple of changes. One of them would be in section 10. You'll find that on page 60, starting on page 68. And this is in regard to vocational experts. This is new language. And what we're talking about here is when there are reviews done on retirees who are drawing disability retirement. And the question arises whether or not they return to work, whether it's gainful employment or not. And this would allow a vocational expert to to serve as an expert and evaluate those issues and reports on employment relating to disability reviews. This section also would remove the review of a physical exertion requirement when a disability is due solely to a mental illness. And it also specifies that disability recipients shall return excess benefits upon disqualification due to gainful employment. And that's that section. There's one other additional section that is a new provision. It's found in section 15, starting on page 114 of the bill. Currently, when someone applies for disability retirement insurance, the process is there are 3 medical examiners who will review the information that is submitted to the retirement authority. And essentially, if all 3 agree, if it's 2 to 1, it would move forward. What this would allow for is initially the information would be presented to one medical examiner. If that individual determined that the information warrants that person being eligible for disability retirement, that person would be eligible. However, if that medical examiner were to say no, this person is not eligible for disability retirement, they would go to a second medical examiner would be brought in to review the process. If that second medical examiner also said no, this person is not eligible based on the criteria, then the disability claim would be denied. However, if that second medical examiner said that, yes, I believe there's a conflict between the 2 medical examiners, then and only then would you bring in the third medical examiner to review the process and determine whether that person's eligible for disability retirement or not. It would speed up the process because of individuals who would have that initial claim based on the first, and it would also, we believe, would save some of the administrative burden on that. Those are the 2 major changes, what I will call a new policy to the bill. Like I said, we'll be happy. We've got the experts here to answer any questions you have, but be happy to answer any questions. But I wanted to point out those 2 substantial changes in policy that are part of this legislation.
Would either of your guests, Representative Tipton, like to add anything?
I don't have anything to add. I think Representative Tipton did a really nice job presenting that information.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions or discussion? Representative Graham, did you have a question, sir?
No, I remember we talked about this in the off session, and I remember the retirement board was supportive of this and thought this was the best method by which to go. So I support the bill. I think it's a fairness. It's a better way of trying to establish whether or not an individual could receive their benefits based upon what has happened to them, whether it's physical or mental. But anyway, I think this is a better way of trying to figure it out. So appreciate the bill.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Representative Graham. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just point out that this information was presented to the Public Pension Oversight Board. They had a chance to review this legislation and vet it.
Thank you. Is there a motion on House Bill 49 as amended by the committee substitute?
So moved.
There is a motion and there is a second on House Bill 49 as was amended by the committee substitute. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll at this time?
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bratcher.
Yes.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative Duvall. Representative Graham.
Yes, and I thank the gentleman from Spencer for sponsoring legislation. Thank you.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Heverin. Yes. Representative Herron.
Yes.
Representative Hodgson.
Here. Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Imes.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Maddox.
Yes.
Representative Rawlings.
Yes.
Representative Tate. Yes. Representative Tipton.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Representative Witten.
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes. House Bill 49, as amended by the committee substitute, passes with 19 favorable votes and 0 votes opposed. passes with favorable expression and should do the same on the House floor. Thank you all very much today for your time. Thank you, ladies. House Bill 139 today will be passed over on our agenda, and we will proceed to the last bill on our agenda for today, and that will be House Bill 185. Representative Whitten, would you please come to the table? Okay. Representative, would you please at this time identify yourself for the record, and then you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Susan Tyler Whitten, and I'm State Representative for District 31 in Louisville. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee.
Before you proceed, was there anyone else wanted to join you at the table today?
No, it's just me.
I apologize. Go right ahead,
That's okay.
please.
The committee should have received the committee sub yesterday, and I just wanted to describe it. It simply adds the word certificates of employability to the bill for the purpose of employee qualifications. For those that don't know, certificates of employability are issued by state courts to people with criminal convictions who have met certain standards to help employers make better informed decisions about applicants with criminal records.
Is there a second? Second. There has been a motion and a second on the committee sub to House Bill 185. Would anyone have any questions on the committee sub? Representative Graham, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Aren't we already doing this? Is this procedure, it's already in procedure?
The cabinet is currently analyzing these openings. What this does is just gives permanence to these changes that I think is important, regardless of the gubernatorial
Okay. So you're
situation.
basically confirming what the cabinet has been doing?
Correct.
There has been a motion and a second on the committee sub. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The committee sub carries.
Thank you.
Representative Whitten, you may proceed on the House Bill 185 as amended by the committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 185 is a bill that addresses Kentucky's continued workforce challenges that we're all facing. The intent of this bill is simply to consider
Motion
relevant...
on the bill with amended by the committee substitute.
There has been a motion. There is a second. We have a question before we proceed with that. Representative Bojanowski, please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm still not quite understanding why what you're trying to do isn't satisfied in current statute language. So current statute says the secretary shall be free to use any investigation of education and experience and any test of capacity, knowledge, manual skill, character, personal traits, or physical fitness, which serves the need to discover the relative fitness. So how is it what you're adding in is different than what is already in statute?
I think specifically the certificates of employability, I think that is the major difference. Everything else, this just really focuses the and recognize professional backgrounds that are based on skill and competency above education. It's just focusing it.
Thank you.
Representative Graham.
So is the cabinet supportive of this? I thought, did you mention that they were?
I did. They are not opposed to it. They are let me know that they're currently assessing these positions. In their position, they're not opposed to it. This again, we're doing the same thing. This just gives permanence to the verbiage and putting these changes into statute. So yes, we're in complete agreement.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Representative Hebron.
May I comment on the bill quickly?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Representative Whitten, I want to thank you. I think what you're trying to do is just to codify this into state law. Even if the cabinet's already doing it, you're just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do no matter who's in office. You know, of course, with the gubernatorial election coming up, you know, that's always on the foresight of everyone's mind. So I appreciate you doing this, especially with workforce being such an issue that so many of us run on and so many of us hear from constituents. Just recognizing that sometimes your skill can be better than your education. And so thank you for bringing that. I think it's a great talking point, and I think it's even better that we're doing that. We're practicing what we preach.
Thank you.
So thank you for bringing it and for codifying this into statute.
Thank you, Representative Hebron.
Representative Tate has a question. Go ahead, Representative Tate.
Mr. Chairman, if I just may make a comment.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Representative Whitten, I appreciate you bringing this bill forward. You know, one of the things that I like to do is I like to always catch people doing things right. I like to catch administrations doing things right. So I appreciate you bringing this bill forward so we can actually codify an administration doing something right. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We had someone signed up from the Personnel Cabinet to speak. Is anyone here from the Personnel Cabinet? Yes, ma'am, please come forward. Are you the only one, ma'am? I am. Would you please at this time identify yourself for the record?
Yes, Chair, and everyone in the committee. Hi, Representative Whitten. My name is Jarena Weathers. I'm the Personnel Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, ma'am, you may proceed with comments at this time.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to have the opportunity to say hello and to share with you all that we are already in the works of doing this. Representative Whitten was very, very gracious in reaching out to us and making sure that language, that we had reviewed it. But I will share with you that it is already in that language in 18A, 110, 1C, and 7C. And it gives us it gives this position, not particularly me, but this position a broad arena of being able to look at not just experience, not just certificates, not just licensures, not just bachelor's degree, but everything. And that's what we're doing right now. And just like Representative Whitten said, we are in the midst of looking through all of those programs we have for a very, very long time. So I just wanted to make sure that I share with you some numbers.
Yes, ma'am, you may proceed.
There are 55 job classifications out of 1,165 that have a degree requirement and without a substitution clause. So the big part of that is to understand that those job classes impact only about 870 positions out of the 28,000. But I do want to share with you that of those that we were just talking about that is being impacted, we are already working through those, working with the industry. You've got to work with the industry and seeing what's happening. We have to work with the agencies to make sure that those job classes, because they change all of the time. And I don't think I'm telling you all that you know that it is looking differently. That's why Representative Whitten is here. But I want to make sure that you all know that we are excited about that. We are already working through this process and have been for years. And 18A, 110, 1C, and 7C has given this position, Secretary of Personnel, that position since the 1960s, of having that broad look. But now, just more than ever, when we're looking at 2022, we have to go through this. We have to look through it and make sure that we're answering the questions that you may have, that Representative may have, and that I just wanted to share with you that we're doing that. I wanted to make sure that you have those numbers.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your very insightful testimony that you have given us today. Are there any questions? Representative Graham, go ahead, sir.
So, Madam Secretary, I just want to make sure that the Cabinet is comfortable with you're already doing what this bill is saying we need to do.
That is correct. And the language that is here, it's broad enough to be able to, it's a broad stroke that it's doesn't necessarily have to be codified. It's in the statute that regardless of what secretary it is that's there, they have that broad stroke of looking at, because we want to make sure that it's just like Representative Whitten said, but we want to make sure that nothing is restrictive. We want to make sure that we are able to look at each and every job class, each and every position, to make sure that if something that's needed today may not be needed next year. And then, of course, you've got a few of those positions that have to have either license or bachelor's degree, like a biologist or forensic biologist. They have to have those. So those are the things that we want to make sure that the language is broad enough and it's not restrictive enough that it would stop this position to be able to assist the 28,000 employees that we have.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
follow up?
Yes,
So
sir.
you're saying that what this bill does, it does exactly what you all are already doing. You have no problems with it because you're doing it already.
Well, I'm not sure if I agree or disagree with the language. I just think that the language that we already have is enough. It is sufficient. But Representative Whitten does have other particulars that she wants to look at. But it's, again, if you've got a broad stroke, of looking at certain things as the secretary or whomever, because we have to go through each agency as well to see what they need. We want to make sure that that language stays as broad as necessary and be able to stand the test of time from here and thereafter. So being restrictive in some of that language could be a little bit problematic. But I'm not here to debate it. I do want to share that language that we have already is absolutely sufficient.
Any other questions? Seeing no further questions, we have had a motion on House Bill 185 and a second as was amended by the committee substitute. Seeing no further questions, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bowling. Yes. Representative Bratcher.
Yes.
Representative Chester Burton.
Pass.
Representative Duvall. Representative Graham.
I'm going to pass.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Heverin.
Yes.
Representative Herron.
Pass.
Representative Hodgson.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Imes.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Maddox.
Yes.
Representative Rawlings.
Yes.
Representative Tate.
Yes.
Representative Tipton.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Representative Witten.
Yes.
Representative Duvall.
Yes.
Representative Hale.
Yes. The motion on the bill passes with 16 yes votes and 4 pass votes. The motion passes with favorable expression and should do the same on the House floor. Representative Witten, thank you very much. Congratulations today. Thank you, each one, for being with us. Are there any members at this time that would like to record any yes votes or any votes that you missed? Representative Whitten's coming to the microphone, and she may proceed at this time first. Representative Whitten, the first vote that we had was on House Bill 40, and then House Bill 70, House Bill 49, and then
I believe I haven't yet voted for House Bill 40, and that's a yes.
Representative Duvall, would you like to record votes, please?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead, proceed.
That would be House Bill 49, House Bill 70, and 40. Yes. Yes.
He records a yes vote on all 3 of those bills. Thank you all. At this time, seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned.